Okay, today's notes are going to be on perpendicular lines. Earlier in the section, when we were previewing the section with constructions, we learned that perpendicular lines are formed when two lines intersect and they form four right angles. So perpendicular bisector is when two lines intersect and form four right angles. In addition to that, okay, since they're a bisector, it means it divides the lines into equal parts, equal segments. So if you have this, here's one line, and here's the other. They're going to be intersecting perpendicularly, so that means these are all 90 degrees, but it also means that this part is congruent to that part, and these two parts here are going to be congruent, equal in measure. So in essence, that is the main thing about perpendicular lines, is that you want to know that they form four right angles here. That's the key. So then what I wanted to also touch on is perpendicular transversal theorem. So what that means is, say I have two lines. Let's call it line 1 and line 2. Now if line 1 and line 2 are both perpendicular to, let's call it M, both perpendicular, then what must be true about line 1 and line 2? Well, you should be able to know. So if you pretend line M wasn't even there, what is the case about these lines? They look like they're never touching, and they aren't. They're parallel lines. And the reason they're parallel is because these corresponding angles, which are both the same measure, 90 degrees, because they're perpendicular, would make them parallel. Okay, and that's what the perpendicular transversal theorem states. So, if two lines are perpendicular to the same line, then they are parallel. So if L1 is perpendicular to M, L2 is perpendicular to M, then L1 is parallel to L2. Any clarifying questions on perpendicular lines? Again, the key is that these are two lines that intersect. They form four right angles. That's the key that you need to know for this section. So as we look at example 1, okay, you want to solve for x and explain. Well, because this is 90 degrees here, that means that these lines are perpendicular. So it means all these angles here are 90 degrees. Okay? So the lines are perpendicular. So it forms four right angles. So since it forms four right angles, I know that where x plus 38 is 90 degrees. So I can just set x plus 38 equal to 90. And then solving this, I would just subtract 38, which would give me 52. Any questions on that? Okay. So flipping over to example number 2. As we look at example number 2, again, you see that this is 90 degrees here. So if this is 90 degrees, it means the lines are perpendicular, which means all these angles here are 90 degrees. Okay. So the lines are perpendicular. That's a symbol for perpendicular, by the way, upside down T. So all angles are 90 degrees. So everything here would equal to 90 degrees, that section. So I can do x minus 12 plus 49 would equal 90 degrees. And combining like terms here would give me x plus 37 equals 90. And when I minus 37, I would get 53. Okay, to get my solution. I'm going to give you a minute to try example 3. So as we look at example 3 here, we notice that again this is 90 degrees, so therefore this whole thing here has to be 90 degrees. So you can do x plus 3x equals to 90. So 4x equals to 90. So when we divide 90 by 4, we'll do that division there because it will be a decimal. 4 goes into 9 twice, which is 8 remaining. 9 minus 8 is 1. Bring down the 0. 4 into 10 twice, which is 8. 2 remains. Put the decimal place. Bring down the 0. 4 into 20 5 times. So the answer would be 22.5. So that's how you get your solution there for x. And lastly, we have example 4. In example 4, again, if this is 90, then this would be 90, this would be 90, and this would be 90. However, you need to do something else here. So you see that these are vertical angles. So if this is 63, this would be 63, or if this was x, this would be x there. So now that you got that relationship down, then you could know that these two parts here will add up and equal the whole thing of 90. So you can do x plus 63 equals 90. So you minus 63, which will give you 27 equals x. And that's your solution. Okay. So that concludes today's lesson. We're going to be skipping example 5, so no need for you to do that and worry about it. And that concludes today's lesson.